Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatadi Sutarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 11th chapter, text 20. This chapter is entitled as Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. Nata, Nartaka, Gandharva, Suta, Magadha, Bandinaha, Gayanti, Chottama Shloka, Charitani, Adbhutani, Cha, Nata Nartaka Gandharva, Suta Magadha Vandinaha, Gayanti Chottama Shloka, Charitan Adbhutani Cha. Dramatists, Nartaka, dancers, Gandharva, celestial singers, Suta, professional historians, Magadha, professional genealogists, Bandinaha, professional learned speakers, Gayanti, chant, Cha, respectively, Uttama Shloka, the Supreme Lord, Charitani, activities, Adbhutani, all superhuman, Cha, and. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. Please repeat after me. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. These artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. So, Krishna arrived in Dwarka, and how he was received by everyone is being described here. There are Sutas, Magadhas, Gandharva, not a Nartaka, Gandharva, Suta Magadha, Bandinaha. So these are various types of occupations that were engaged, that people were engaged in those days. They were natas. Natas means the actors, the dramatists. Nartaka, dancers. and Gandharva, the singers. So they were the actors or dramatists performing dramas. They were dancers, they were singers, and then there were the sutras. Sutras are the professional historians. They have the complete understanding of what actually happened in a chronological order. Then Magadha, the people, those who kept the genealogical record, the family record, since the beginning of time, practically. Like when we see the Vedic culture, we can see that it is a very well recorded culture. Like there is the family lines going all the way back to the sages, the rishis, the prajapatis. We know, say for example, when Krishna was speaking in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna was speaking about how this knowledge came, this knowledge of karma, the culture of karma yoga. Krishna gave a very clear description that he gave it to Vivashwan, the sun god. Then sun god gave it to his son, Manu. Then Manu gave it to his son, Ikshaku. And in this way, this knowledge had been flowing. So we can see that it's not only that Krishna is speaking only about Manu and Ikshaku, but actually this record is there all the way. Like when we see Ramayana, we see the line of Lord Ramchandra, family line. Actually, Lord Ramchandra appeared in Ikshaku dynasty. As he is saying, Krishna is saying, Manur Ikshaku ve abravit. Manu gave it to his son Ikshaku. And from Ikshaku all the way down to Ramchandra, the family line is there. And this line is called Surya Vamsa, the sun dynasty. Why it is sun dynasty? Because sun god is the progenitor of this dynasty. Is anyone translating for those who are Hindi speaking? आप लोग समझते हैं? पीछे जो बैठे हैं आप नहीं समझ रहे हैं. Who can translate for them? Oh, so then why doesn't he say that? I'm asking, is anyone translating? Oh no, he is doing it only for him. Let Rajan do that. The genealogical descriptions are there. So from that we can see that these are all historical facts. These are not, Ramchandra is not a person from the fairy tales. Unfortunately, people, even in India, they have developed a misconception that it is, these are all the Vedic narrations, Vedic descriptions are just mythology, fairy tales, myth, stories. Actually, the problem is they don't study these subjects properly. And that's why, since they did not study this under the proper guidance, they do not have any understanding. They call it mythology. Why they call it mythology? Because when the Britishers came to India, they called it mythology. and being educated by these fools who at one time was ruling over India, the Englishmen. Today's India is thinking that they are mythology, and as a result of that they don't have any understanding. And what to speak of respect for their own culture. To them, how many Indians today read Ramayana, Mahabharata? Hardly anyone reads. And because they don't read, and they do not read under the guidance, the guidance of a teacher, they do not have any understanding whatsoever. That's why Srila Prabhupada actually came to give the clear understanding of the Vedic wisdom. And we are fortunate that because of Srila Prabhupada's arrangement, at least we have a clear understanding. And what is the clear understanding? The clear understanding that whatever has been mentioned in these Vedic literatures, they're real facts. They're factual. Not a single incident there is a story. They're all history. So what is the understanding? The understanding that whatever has happened has been recorded. Especially the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is recorded. Not only recorded, they're repeatedly sung, they're repeatedly enacted, they're repeatedly performed through dance dramas. And this way, the superhuman activities. Why Lord's activities? Because the Lord's activities are all superhuman activities and they are ideal activities. An ordinary human activity, no matter how powerful he is, no matter how famous he is, only human. They are just simple. Say for example, we see in Olympics. In Olympics, people lift, say, 300 kilos of somebody, a weightlifter, lifts 300 kilos, and the whole world becomes stunned. Oh, he lifted 300 kilos. All the newspapers start to flash that news, that such and such person, weightlifter, has lifted 300 kilos. Maybe, and he broke the world record. And what was the world record before? The world record before was 297 kilos. So he broke the record by lifting 3 kilos more. And the whole world is just gloating about it. Right. But when the Lord comes, what did he do? He lifted the whole mountain, Govardhan Hill. And not only he lifted it, he held it on his little finger for 7 days. Now these are the activities, the unusual activities of the Lord. Who can lift a mountain like that? Yes, sometimes some people can lift also because, say sometimes once Ravana lifted the Kailash Parvat. He tried to lift, he just lifted a little bit. So we can see that even compared to Ravana, today's weightlifters are nobody. And Ravana lifted the hill, but then what happened? On top of Kailash was Lord Shiva and Parvati. So when he lifted the Kailash, it shook and Parvati became nervous. Oh, what happened? She was about to, so Lord Shiva what he did, he just pressed the top of the mountain with his toe, and it crashed Ravan's hand, smashed Ravan's hand, and Ravan was crying. And then he realized what happened, so he started to glorify Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is Ashutosh. Lord Shiva, Mahakaleshwar, is Ashutosh. He becomes pleased very quickly. So if somebody just glorifies him, he forgets. Vaishnavanam Jatha Sambhu. All his anger subsided. And he became pleased with Ravan. And Ravan became a great devotee of Lord Shiva that way. But Krishna, when he lifted Govardhan, he lifted it on his little finger. Ravan was lifting Kailash with great effort, with both hands and all the strength, he lifted a little bit. But Krishna, when he lifted Govardhan hill, he lifted it just with his little finger. He lifted it and then held it with his little finger, that also of the left hand. And left hand is the weaker hand. And then on top of his little finger, he held it, balanced it, and held it for 7 days. Therefore, we make a challenge. If somebody says he's a god, he is God. Nowadays, there are so many gods. Amuk Bhagavan, Tamuk Bhagavan, there are so many gods. Bhagavan this, Bhagavan that. Now, our challenge to them is, okay, if you're Bhagavan, then lift. You may not be able to lift. We don't want you even to lift Govardhan hill. We don't want you to even lift a hill or a mountain. You just lift a little table. And you won't have to hold it on for 7 days. Just balance it on your little finger for 7 minutes. Or even 7 seconds. Let's see. So if you can do it, then we will think that you are somebody. But if you can't, then shut up. That is our point. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is all-powerful. He is all-powerful. And he is Ekam Eva Advitiya. He is one without a second. There is no one equal to him, and no one is superior to him. That is the supreme. That is the meaning of the word supreme. Param Ishvara. The supreme controller, the supreme proprietor. And no one is equal to him, and no one is superior to him. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he displays his activities are superhuman. His activities are so wonderful that everyone sings about those activities. And not only the Lord's activities are superhuman, his devotees' activities are also superhuman. Like we are speaking about the Olympic records. Now somebody jumps, 21 feet, he breaks the world record. Long jump, what is the world record in long jump? 21 feet. Somebody comes and jumps 21 feet 6 inches, he breaks the world record. And everybody starts to glorify him. But when Hanuman jumps, when Hanuman jumped, 3,000 yojanas from the shore of India to Sri Lanka, across the ocean. So that is his first jump. What was his second jump? His second jump was all the way from Lanka to Himalaya, Gandhamadan Parvat. Actually, the first jump was from the shore of the ocean to Sri Lanka. The second jump was from Sri Lanka all the way to the northern part of India, to the Himalayas. And what his third jump was? His third jump was all the way from Himalaya to Sri Lanka with a mountain in his hand. He carried the mountain, Gandhamadhan mountain, all the way from Himalaya to Sri Lanka. Now, who will break these records? Only the Lord and his devotees can break such records. Now, the question is, are these fairy tales? Are these stories? If they are stories, then why these saintly personalities who have nothing to do with this material nature would glorify these activities? The saintly personalities left everything. They left everything. They have no interest for anything material. Why will they be fascinated by these stories? Let us consider the fairy tales. We read so many fairy tales when we are young. And we are fascinated by them. When you're 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, we read so many fairy tales. Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. In Bengali there was Thakurmar Jhuli. And in this way, there are so many fairy tales. But we were fascinated by them. But when we became 17, 18, did we have any interest for them? No. We did not have, we lost all interest for them because we knew that they're just some concocted stories. Then we became interested in some other kind of writings. Tarashankar Bandyopadhyay or Shakespeare or such mundane writers. We became interested in their writing. Rabindranath Tagore, Prem Chand, or we became interested in them. But then, when we became a devotee, we lost interest in them. Because they all are, we know that they are just some fairy tale. They are some concocted novels, the stories. Or maybe we can go deep, take one step. So when we are 15, 16, 17 years old, we are fascinated by these stories. But then we joined college, we took science. So now we are dealing with real, solid subject. So we don't have any interest for novels and poetries. And so now we are interested in science, physics, chemistry, biology, botany, or even economics, or politics, or computer science. So we don't have any more interest in that. But then we grew up a little more. Then we realized that no, these are not also the interesting subject. They're dealing with something, but they don't really satisfy our heart. We want to know the real truth. So we became interested in philosophy, right? Philosophy, now we want to know what the world is, what everything is, like through philosophical understanding. But then also, then we come across Krishna consciousness movement. Then we come across Krishna consciousness movement. And when we come across Krishna consciousness movement, we got to know about Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Upanishads, Puranas. And when you started to read them, then we lost interest even for philosophy. We realized philosophy is only mental speculation. We are fascinated by big philosophers. Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, Kant, Descartes, big philosophers. And we thought, oh, we know so much. I can speak on even Vedanta Sutra. So, but then we lose interest in all of that. Now he became interested in Krishna consciousness. So we can see that when a person takes to spiritual life, he actually has gone through the entire journey on the material platform. Now, why these people who has rejected everything material will become fascinated by these stories? The stories of Ramayana, stories of Mahabharata, stories of Upanishads and Purans. Why? Are they stories? No. They're his stories. His stories. Whose stories? The stories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're the real history. The activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's pastimes. When he came, he performed superhuman activities. Like we can see that even though the Lord is performing his pastimes as a cowherd boy, what he is doing? Even as a little cowherd boy, his activities are so wonderful. Like he is playing with his friends, then all of a sudden a demon comes. And the demon is terrible looking, huge. Huge means his head is practically touching the clouds. It's a huge body. He is coming to kill Krishna. And seeing that terrible form, you can well imagine if you all of a sudden, while you're playing in the field, a little boy, and you see a huge giant has come, how will you feel? You'll naturally feel afraid. And they will run to Krishna and appeal to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, look, let's run away. Krishna says, no, don't worry. I'll take care of him. And then they fight. Krishna fights. The demon tries to kill Krishna. Krishna tries to. And that is the fun. And then ultimately Krishna just slaps him. Finished. One slap from Krishna, the demon is dead. Trinavartasura came as a whirlwind. Like in India you don't see tornadoes. Trinavarta is actually a tornado. In America you get tornadoes. And you know what happens to a tornado? When the tornado comes, anything that comes on its course, it's just immediately destroyed. To give an example, say a tank, a military tank comes on the way of a tornado, what will happen? That tornado will take the tank high up on the sky, just like a toy. And then it will fall on the ground, completely smashed. So Trinavarta came as a tornado and took Krishna up. How old was Krishna at that time? Little baby. And this tornado, Trinavarta, was actually a demon. With his mystic power, he actually created this whirlwind. Created that whirlwind and took Krishna all the way up. And what did Krishna do? And Trinavarta's idea was that he would take Krishna up and then drop him. And this little baby will die. A baby, if he is dropped even from 5 feet height, the baby generally dies. And he took him up maybe 500 feet up. And he was about to drop Krishna. But Krishna, what did he do? Little baby Krishna, he just put his arm around Trinavarta's neck. And He just gave a little squeeze. Trinavarta's throat got choked. Trinavarta couldn't breathe. He started to struggle to breathe. But Krishna's arms, like a vice, just became tighter and tighter and tighter. And as a result of that, Trinavarta demon, who had mystic power, Yoga Siddhi, such mystic power that with his mystic power he could even turn himself into a tornado, that Trinavarta just died. And he wanted to drop Krishna, but he fell along with Krishna on a huge piece of stone. And his body was smashed. Now, is it unusual? Is it impossible for the Lord to act in this way? Is anything impossible for God? No, nothing is impossible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme powerful. He is the supreme controller. For him, there is nothing impossible. So when we hear these activities, we naturally recognize that yes, nothing is unusual for him. Like for example, one may think that lifting a hill is impossible for somebody. Lifting a hill and hold it for 7 days is impossible. It may be impossible for somebody, but a person who can keep the universes float in the space, can it be impossible for him? Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki. Can it be impossible for a person who can even float the universes? A person who is holding this earth planet in the space, is it impossible for him to hold a little mountain on top of his hand? No. The person who is providing for everyone, is it impossible for him to kill a demon even though he may appear to be like a little baby? No. Therefore, we have to first of all understand that for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible for him because he made everything possible. It is because of him that the creation has appeared. It is because of him that the creation is being maintained. The whole creation is being maintained by him. So what can be impossible for him? The person who is in everyone's heart, is it impossible for him to expand himself into 16,000 forms and dance with the gopis of Vrindavan? The person who expanded into himself into every single atom, is it impossible for him to dance? Is it impossible for him to expand into 16,000 forms and dance with 16,000 girls in Vrindavan? The person who is maintaining the whole creation, is it impossible for him to marry 16,000 wives and maintain them and have 10 children out of each of them? No. And in this way, just by hearing the superhuman activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we become aware of his unusual activities, unusual abilities, and we develop our attraction for him. And we naturally become inclined to surrender ourselves unto him. That yes, if I have to surrender unto somebody, let me surrender to him. Because why do we surrender? We surrender to get shelter. We surrender to get protection. When we are in difficulty, we surrender to somebody. Please help me. Please save me. Please rescue me from this difficulty. Now, at a time like difficulties, at a time of difficulty, isn't it intelligent to surrender to somebody who is the most powerful and who can do all kinds of wonderful things? Therefore, when we surrender, we must surrender to Krishna, not to anyone else. And surrender to Krishna means surrender to Krishna's devotees. Because Krishna's agents are here. Who are Krishna's agents? Krishna's devotees. Krishna's representatives are Krishna's devotees. So surrendering to Krishna means we have to surrender to Krishna's devotees. And when we surrender to Krishna's devotees, then Krishna will take care of us. Krishna will say, Krishna is seeing, we may not see Krishna, but Krishna is seeing us. And when he sees that we are surrendering unto his devotees, Krishna will take note of us. He'll say, okay, now he has surrendered unto me. So when somebody surrenders unto Krishna, then what will Krishna do to him? Krishna will take care of him in all respects. And if the devotee is in danger, Krishna will save him. Krishna will come to his rescue. And here again we get to know the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The way he acted with Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was a little child. His father, the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, wanted to kill him in so many ways. But Krishna came to protect him. Time and time again, Krishna protected Prahlad. So from that, what we understand? We understand that if we also surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will protect us in the same way. Prahlad surrendered himself to Krishna and Krishna saved him. So if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will save us. Anyone, when he surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will protect him. So what do we learn? Let us surrender to Krishna. If there is any difficulty, then what should we do? Pray to Krishna. Krishna, please help me. Krishna, please protect me. There is no harm in that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also prayed, Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam. So we should not think, no, we should not ask Krishna for protection. No. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing us how to pray to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam. Krishna, Krishna, Pahimam. Krishna, please protect me. This material nature is very dangerous. And Krishna is protecting us all the time. So it's a matter of just becoming aware how Krishna is protecting us. Sometimes I give an example. I have given this example before. Like, what is the size of the Earth planet? What is the shape of the Earth planet? The Earth planet is round. And where are we? Are we inside the Earth or outside the Earth? On the surface of the Earth. So Earth is round, and we are on the surface of the Earth, and the Earth is moving. Earth is moving with a tremendous speed, about 1,000 kilometers per hour. It's moving so fast, and we are on the surface of the Earth. Now, if there is a round thing, and if something is on the surface of it, and if it moves, then what will happen to that object? It will fall off. Now, why you are not falling off? We are not falling off. We are not thrown out in the space. Are we? No. Earth is moving, but we are comfortably situated on the surface of the Earth. Why? Why? Because Krishna is holding us. Krishna made the arrangement to hold us in that. There is a energy called Madhyakarshan Shakti, gravitational pull. Akarshan Shakti, attraction. It's actually, the Shakti is not Madhyakarshan, it is Shankarshan. The Shakti is Shankarshan Shakti. And it's because of that energy, because of that Shakti, that we are held on the surface of the earth. So when we think that the earth is moving and we are on the surface of the earth, if we are properly situated, shouldn't we pray, Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam? Although Krishna is maintaining us, protecting us, saving us, but there is no harm in praying to Krishna, 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 please protect us. We are in such a dangerous situation. Like sometimes when you fly in the plane, don't you think, if something happens, if the engine stops, what will happen? Don't you get into anxiety? I'm sure many of you, I thought many times, like what will happen? Like, what to speak of engine stops? If the window breaks, you know what will happen? If the window that you are sitting next to, the plane, if the window breaks, what will happen? The air pressure outside is so much lighter than inside. Like, have you seen paste coming out of the tube? You will come out of the window like that. Just the body will just, because of the pressure, the body will just come out. These thoughts come into mind. Right? And then what do you think? Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam. Similarly, we can think the earth is moving, and if the earth stops to move, what will happen? We are fine, earth is moving and we are situated very nicely on the surface of the earth. But if the earth stops for a second, what will happen? We all will be thrown out. The whole creation will be destroyed. The whole planet will be destroyed. If the earth stops even for a fraction of a second. So this is how dangerous is our situation. This is how dangerous our situation is in this material nature. So what should we do? Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam. Krishna, please give me the protection. So in this way, we must surrender unto Krishna. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrender unto me. And by surrendering unto Krishna, do we lose anything? No. Krishna is real, and if we are intelligent, then we'll understand that Krishna is real, and we will surrender unto Him in all respects. Only the fool will think that no, there is no God, I am God, and I can do anything. I can do everything. But in time we see, what can we do? At the time of death, we won't be able to lift our hand. At the time of death, we won't be able to breathe. So this is how powerful we are. Everyone will see how powerful he is at the time of death. Or even not even at the time of death, even before that we see. When you become old, when you become diseased, what happens? You know Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali, big champion, boxing champion. And he was considered to be the greatest of all time. Greatest boxer, heavyweight champion. And he himself used to say also, I am the greatest. And then you know what happened to Muhammad Ali? He got a disease called Parkinson's disease. When you get the Parkinson's disease, then you can't even lift your hand. Your body begins to shake. Now, Muhammad Ali, who was a big heavyweight boxing champion, he can't even lift his hand. And he realized from that, he's an intelligent person. So when somebody asked, like at one time he used to think that you are the greatest. And Muhammad Ali says, even still today I think I am the greatest. But today I realize that I am the greatest fool. So only God is great. Only God is great. No one else is great. No matter how powerful you are, it's only for the time being. Big, as I was saying, big Olympic champion, lifted 300 kilos. But when he is dying in his deathbed, what is his condition? Big heavyweight champion, big weightlifter, big soldier, big general, big, all these big people. At the time of death, they just lie flat on their back, can't even lift their finger, can't even breathe. Therefore, an intelligent person will just surrender unto Krishna and remain surrendered to Krishna. He will not think that he is the great. He is great. He will realize that he is absolutely insignificant. Only Krishna is great, and his activities must be sung, his activities must be enacted, his activities must be glorified. And in this way, we must tell everybody about how great Krishna is. You know how great Krishna is? He did this. You know how great Krishna is? Let's make a drama. And what should be the theme of the drama? How great Krishna is, how wonderful Krishna is, how caring Krishna is, how loving Krishna is. And that is how we get to know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who are we? We are just his insignificant servants. But if we surrender unto him, then our life becomes successful. We don't have to become great. We simply have to make our life successful. And the way to make our life successful is by surrendering unto Krishna, becoming his devotee, singing his glory, serving him with all our abilities. Then our lives will become successful. And doesn't matter who we are. We may be a big person or we may be a small person. We may be an old man or we may be a little baby. We may be a man or a woman. We may be whoever we may be. Only when we surrender unto Krishna does our life become successful. Otherwise, our life is simply a waste. Irrespective of what our situation is, how big we may be a millionaire, we may be a big big heavyweight champion, we may be a world-famous movie actor, we may be a big politician, we may be a big general, we may be a big king, but if we don't surrender unto Krishna, then what will happen? Then our life will be totally wasted. We'll surrender, we have to surrender ultimately. But who will we surrender? We'll surrender to death. If we don't surrender to Krishna, then ultimately we have to surrender to death. No matter whoever we are, the death will come and defeat us. And at that time, we'll just lie flat on our back without any ability to even move. Now, what is the intelligent proposal? To surrender to death or to surrender to Krishna? Surrendering to Krishna is the intelligent proposal. Why should we surrender to death? Rather, let's defeat death. And how can we defeat death? Death is most powerful. And everybody has to surrender to death. Let's look at the history. Think of any big man, big politician, Mahatma Gandhi. Where is he? Big general, Alexander the Great, Napoleon Bonaparte. So where are they today? Big rich man, Rockefeller, Henry Ford. Where are they? Where are they? They all have been defeated by death and had to leave this planet. But if we surrender unto Krishna, then there is no death. Jad vibheti swayam bhayam. Death himself is afraid of Krishna. When you become a devotee of Krishna, then what happens? We know the incidents of Dhruva Maharaj. When the chariot came from Vaikuntha to take Dhruva Maharaj, and Dhruva Maharaj was about to climb onto the chariot, what did he see? He saw death. But how was death? He didn't come to defeat Dhruva Maharaj. He came to Dhruva Maharaj kneeling down with folded hands and said, please bless me before you leave this planet. And what did Dhruva Maharaj do? He put his feet on death's head, climbed onto the chariot. So that is how death treats a devotee. So if we become a devotee of Krishna, then we'll not only conquer death, but we'll achieve the immortal life, eternal life in the spiritual sky. Eternal life, no more death. Jad gatva na nivartante stadhama paramam. Going to this, when one goes to the spiritual sky, he doesn't have to come back to this material nature again. He won't have to come to the cycle of birth and death again. He will become eternally situated at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the gift that Srila Prabhupada came to distribute to everyone. And let us take full advantage of this wonderful gift of Srila Prabhupada. There was a time when we were in ignorance. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. We are born in the deepest darkness of ignorance. But Jnananjana Shalakaya, by the torchlight of knowledge, by the mascara of anointing our eyes with the transcendental knowledge, he opened our darkened eyes. Chakshurun militang jena. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada has benefited us, and if we are intelligent, we'll take advantage of that benefit and make our life successful. When we become a devotee, our life becomes successful in all respects. And not only it becomes successful, it becomes joyful, it becomes free from anxiety. The first thing that happens when you become a devotee, what happens? First thing is free from anxiety. We just, all anxieties disappear. When you become a devotee, do we have any more anxiety? No. And it brings happiness. In one hand, the anxiety disappears and happiness comes in.